my friends. It's Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. Do you like that mic action? Didn't scream into the mic. You like that? Anyway, Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. I, of course, I'm Hammer with Originator Success. Here's your daily mortgage rate update, the only place on the web where you guys can join me live each and every weekday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on Facebook or on YouTube Live to talk about what's going on with rates and pricing, the mortgage market overall. Again, this is mainly for mortgage originators, but we do have a lot of different people that actually watch this. So you're welcome to watch. If you're here live, say good morning like Bobby Searson. Let me know that you're here. Good morning, Bobby. Great to see you. If you are here, say good morning. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget, give us a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you're here. If you are watching on the replay, feel free to skip the intro and get to all the other good stuff. If you're here live or on the replay, then don't forget to smash that like button, tag an LO friend, share us in a group. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff, right? Let's go ahead and say hi to the live folks, and then I'll go back to all the other crappy stuff that I do. So, Bobby Searson, good morning. Megan Lindberg, so wonderful to see you. Ron Siegel, good morning, sir. Since I won't be celebrating National Dance Like a Chicken Day, let's go with National Buttermilk Biscuit Day. I'm feeling it. So I was never really big of dancing like a chicken. I don't want to be a chicken. I don't want to be a duck. So kiss my ass. That was the chicken dance, right? I always remember that. So who else wants National Buttermilk Biscuit Day? When I moved to the South, the biscuits here, freaking insanely good. Insanely good. We got Miss Mallory Fotiadis. Good morning. I am feeling all right. Any of you that have ever injured yourself, like during the day, I don't mind it so bad, but when you're sleeping, it's a bitch. That's when it gets to be a pain in the ass, right? It seems like the pain amplifies at night when you're trying to sleep, and it wakes you up constantly. So otherwise, I have a really high tolerance for pain, so I'm good. But thank you. Tomorrow's the surgery. I'll babble more about it then. Good morning, Mandy Kangas, Ron Siegel, you're awesome. Dan Crowley, great to see you. My friend Kelly Cargo, good morning. Allison Foy, Yasmin Martin, Robert Bashirs, Kyle Mazikas, great to have you here as well. Mr. Nathan Einkorn, Tim Kyla, great to have you here, my friend. All of you, thank you for joining me. We got Tito's will help that pain in the evening. You know, Ron, I am all about the Tito's. In fact, last night I finally gave in for my wife's sake, because this poor woman, I wish I had a spare bedroom. I'd sleep in a different bed. I actually went at 3:30 this morning. I went out in my chair in the living room because I just was not, I was driving her nuts. But I actually hit the Oxy. The heavy stuff. I tried it for one night just to see if it would help me sleep so I wouldn't keep waking her up. So otherwise, I'm definitely Tito's and cranberry kind of guy. That's my drink of choice. Mike Schmogan, good morning. George Messia, Brandy Brickler, good morning. All right, y'all. Well, we got plenty of you on. Let's go ahead and get into it this morning. Rate sheets are going to be very much like they were yesterday, maybe a little bit better for some lenders. Let me show you why. If you take a look here at mortgage-backed securities, let's go ahead. Let me see if I could zoom in. Let me refresh the page and I'll zoom in. But right now, mortgage-backed securities are up 13 basis points to start the day. Even though we did get the inflation data this morning, the producer price index, it wasn't this month's data that was actually a bit off. It was a revision from last month. The producer price index final demand increased 0.5% from a month earlier, driven largely by services and following a downwardly revised 0.1% drop in March. Compared with a year ago, the PPI rose 2.2%. So if we look month over month, it was 0.5, which is not good. That's higher inflation than what was estimated at 0.3. Excluding food and energy, or what we call core month over month, 0.5 versus the 0.2. So it was plus 0.3 tenths of a point higher. The year over year was exactly as expected, though, 2.2. And the year over year core came in slightly higher, 2.4 versus 2.3. That revision is the one that really kind of gets me, though. We had a revision of last month's number, and it was revised down to minus 0.1%, which was a little bit strange to see that, right? So it went from a positive into a negative, which would actually be deflation, which would be great. So, but taking a look here, rate sheets this morning going to be the same as yesterday, a smidge better. Right here is where we got that data for the PPI, for the wholesale producer price index. And you can see here, right before it came out, mortgage-backed securities were at 100.22. They dropped and then rebounded almost, within 15 minutes, they were back up and pushing up to new levels. Right now, around 100.28 compared to yesterday when pricing came out, we were around 100.20. So it's just a few basis points higher, a smidge higher than where we were yesterday. And that's why you're going to see a little bit of improvement. As far as where things go from here, it should be another calm, quiet day. The big news, of course, is going to be tomorrow's CPI inflation data. The CPI inflation data and retail sales come out at the same time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Retail sales, also a big report, but it's going to kind of get caught into that river and the backwash of the draft, if you will, of the CPI. Right. So if we get inflation data that comes in better than expected, or even as expected, would be good. Better than expected, would be amazing. It will kind of get sucked into that, even if it comes in, a little bit higher for retail sales, if it's stronger than expected. But overall, shouldn't be a big thing. When you look at mortgage-backed securities this morning, we're going to take a look here. You could see that they are above this 100, the 200, I'm sorry, the 50-day moving average, the red line, the 50-day moving average is at 100.21. We are above that at the moment. It's very likely that we'll fall back and end right at that level again. You could see mortgage bonds, again, we've talked about this yesterday. You see each of these wicks where mortgage bonds have tried to break above this 50-day moving average, but they end up closing and ending the day below it. That's where the body, the heavy part, the thick part of the candlestick is, right? Today, we're currently above it. Very likely we fall back down, but when we do, that's only 10 basis points. Not enough to see a reprice worse, but it's definitely what's more likely to happen today. All bets are off on the technicals tomorrow, though. The technicals won't matter when we get the CPI inflation data. That's going to either send bonds soaring. It's going to help us see rates improve another eighth of a point. Probably not much more than that immediately, but we could see an eighth of a point in actual rate, not pricing, but in rate, if we get better CPI data tomorrow. Now, remember, though, the CPI data is absolutely what beat our butt last month. All right. And our outlook totally hinges on tomorrow's CPI inflation data. Look at this giant red candlestick right here in the middle of my screen. You can see this giant red candlestick. This was April 10th CPI inflation data. That data came in just barely, slightly, a little bit hotter than expected. And remember, I talked about last month how it really just drove me nuts to see this kind of a reaction, because when you look at these things, we're actually seeing hundredths of a point in percentage rounded to tenths of a point, and then the market just runs with it. And it shows you how reactionary everything is. So it's not just how the actual data comes out tomorrow, it's how our market's poised to react to it. Now, the good news is current sentiment, markets are poised to go ahead and react positively for mortgage rates if we get good CPI data. If we get bad data, I think that they'll take it a little bit more in stride, but we will see rates jump tomorrow. So hopefully we don't do that. That's why, remember, my advice is to float them, but you definitely need to be locking any loans that you do want locked, that that are not going to float into tomorrow. This is your last chance. I said yesterday was probably a great day to lock them based on rate sheets. We actually have another solid day today, which is awesome. Let's see. We did not get, beaten up too bad with the stuff this morning, with the data that came in this morning. So right now you're looking with Mortgage News Daily as a reference point. We're looking at about 7 1/8. That's a hair better than the last couple of days. Again, this was Monday, yesterday. This is where it came in. So you're going to see very comparable rate sheets today. But I would be floating most of the loans into tomorrow's CPI data. Here's the deal. If we see that CPI data help us out, we're going to see these rates drop back down into the sixes. It'll be the high sixes, but it'll be the sixes. Now, right now, when we look at the current expectations for what's going on with the Fed, market's currently pricing in. My little girl, she's got me a chipmunk out there. She's trying to bring in. I'll take care of her in a minute. You stay there, Millie girl. I see you. I see you with your chippy. This one is such a hunter. She is a crazy hunter. She catches them like crazy. So anyway, looking here, sorry for the distraction. Looking here, we've got, a pretty strong number of folks still facing the fact that maybe we only see one rate cut. If that CPI data comes in much better tomorrow, which everybody seems to be projecting a decent number. Now, that could either blow up in our face or they could be right. Me, I don't take a guess because I don't know. I'm not smart enough for that stuff, right? So bear with me a second, y'all. She's looking to get this thing in here. So right now we got 4 3/4. That's the big leader. We could see that improve. Again, when we look at that and compare that to where we've been over the last time frame, it's been very stable now for almost a month since we got that last CPI reading, and we're looking for things to get that. Ron said we consistently get bad data. Oops, I guess you meant unfavorable data. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And again, we all agree that it seems like it definitely gets manipulated. I don't know. I don't think they're manipulating it, but it certainly doesn't seem right? This 10-year treasury yield, keep an eye on this, 4.46. You can see how flat that's been. Look at how compared to the trend higher, here's a bit of a curve, trend lower, and then we've just been really, really, really flat with that 10-year treasury yield. And tomorrow, that's going to change. It's going to go up or down one way or the other. That's going to open the door for where we're going. So again, my advice, I'm going to go ahead and suggest, unless it's risk averse, unless it's closing near term, and you can't risk going into tomorrow's data. Problem is the data hits at 8:30 in the morning. Rate sheets come out closer to 10 a.m. So, you're going to see a big reaction. I have a good feeling about this one, but, you might as well shake a magic 8-ball. I'm not going to tell you that I have any real insight into why this should be better. I'm not going to tell you the different things. We've just, like Ron gets it, we've seen enough under the surface movement to believe that if this data comes in accurately, it's going to show that we are in a position where things should get a little bit better for mortgage rates. So, and that would be nice. It's going to help us as we keep, pushing through the spring market, and they're there. So anyway, my friends, I will be coming to tomorrow. I'm going to have surgery on that leg tomorrow, but I will be here in the morning. We will talk about CPI data. Do make sure that you join me. Either way, obviously, you can figure that out yourselves by looking at some headlines, even CNBC or anything else. You'll be able to see what's going on. But definitely join me tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll talk about what the CPI data comes in at, what the retail sales data comes in at, what the reaction is, where mortgage rates stand, and what we see going on from there. Also, we'll talk about how you can have that conversation with your agents and your consumers about it. All right, my friends. Thanks again for joining me. Talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.